that's the age when our hormones are up. Oh my God. I just think that somewhere the director lost the plot. Bollywood has absolutely no shortage of sex scenes, and some of them are truly very problematic. So I'm back today reacting to a few more of these scenes. Okay, I think there's a lot of films in Bollywood that are seriously problematic, but I'm going to push them all aside to make room for Aitraaz, right up there with the worst of the lot. To me, this film is totally about the narrative of this good girl versus bad girl, of actually perpetuating a story of what the good girl should look like and what the bad girl should look like. And where do they come up with these moves? Have you seen those expressions? Do you think that this resembles reality in any way at all? Yes, I understand that they're trying to portray this really bad woman who doesn't really mind using her power. She has all the sexual desires that she doesn't mind expressing. She has no problem with actually going after the guy and making the first move and making sure that she gets him into bed. But man, have you seen how it's done? I mean, there are women in real life who are strong enough to acknowledge their desires. They're strong enough to acknowledge that they like a guy and they would like to sleep with him. It's not an unusual thing. But when was the last time you saw someone do quite so much? It's not even close to reality. I mean, that scene where she wraps herself around the chair, she claws her way up his leg, she throws herself onto the ground, she flings her hair over his. I just think that somewhere the director lost the plot. Look at Akshay Kumar's expression. He looks so wooden. He looks less than wooden. He actually looks like he's constipated, just to cut away to his face. And just look at that. I would have no idea what he was trying to depict, because truly, what is he trying to depict? What is that whole scene trying to depict? She's decided that she is going to have sex. She's going to make love to the man that she wants to be with. It's that straightforward. Look at what we've done to it. Akshay Kumar's role, I think, in this film is literally that of a prop. Just somebody who's there in the middle to show the difference between the good and the bad woman as needs to be portrayed for Indian society. So you have the good woman who's dressed nicely. She's always covered up. She never pushes herself forward. She's a qualified lawyer, but she doesn't get herself a job as a lawyer. No. She instead gets herself a job as a secretary because she loves this man and she wants to be with him, and she would like to be subservient to him just so that she can actually be with him. And even when she eventually finds out that he isn't what he says that he is, instead of being angry, instead of saying, "Oh, you let me down by lying to me," she then immediately falls further in love with him and decides to marry him. Doesn't practice law at all, which is her profession, which she's spent a lot of years and time and money training to be. And she only steps back into her career right at the end when her husband is in trouble, and then she needs to come back out and be a powerful lawyer. Not because she wants to, but because she needs to be out there to protect her husband, to look after him. So, just finishing the cherry on the cake, that here is a woman who decides that her entire life belongs to her husband, in service of her husband, just to look after him. And then you have the bad woman, the one who dresses in skimpy clothes, the one who expresses what she wants to do. She drinks, she goes to nightclubs. So she's shown to be doing all the things that we have stereotypically cast in the light of being bad. And worst of all, oh my God, having an abortion. Having an abortion because she wants to carry on her career, and this is not her time to have a child. This film is so problematic that I think it should actually be taught in sex ed classes as what not to be. Okay, so as you can tell from my expression, this particular film definitely gets the thumbs up from me. I think it's the gentleness of the scene, once again, that really speaks to the person who's watching it. It makes you feel like there's something beautiful going on over there, rather than, oh my God, this is cringe, I don't want to be watching this. But I think for me, the biggest plus point of this film was that it was brave enough to depict the sexual arousal and normalize the sexual arousal for people who are other. You know, whenever we talk about sexuality within our society, particularly in India, there is so much othering. I mean, there are so many boxes, there are so many stereotypes around who can be shown to be having sex or who can be shown to be having sexual desires and who cannot. If you have got to a point where you've got children, how dare you be thinking about sexual desires? If you've got to a point where you're divorced, my God, this woman is available. You're not supposed to have any sexual desires, but everybody else can have sexual desires for you. Like if you're 60 and beyond, you're only supposed to be thinking about Path Puja and thinking about your prayers, never about sexual desires. And if you're in any way otherwise abled, if you're in any way challenged either physically or mentally, you're not even supposed to ever have sexual desires. It's not even supposed to be something that enters your mind. You know, sexual desire, arousal, pleasure, the desire for pleasure is the most basic instinct in any human being. Somehow we're always taught to believe that sexuality, desire, pleasure is only for the really tiny group of people that come within a certain age group. Here is a teenager, you know, that's the age when our hormones are up. It's so natural for people to think about desire, for people to think about sex a lot more than they do when they get older. And we judge people at that age. We judge youngsters for feeling like this all the time. So here's this young girl who acknowledges her sexuality. She realizes that she's bisexual and that she wants to have sex with both men and women, and that it turns her on, it gives her pleasure. Because what we tend to do is you suppress this. Like if a younger person comes along and says, I feel this way, the first reaction is to suppress it. Wouldn't it be so much easier if you were to talk to them, deal with the issue, and then help them to overcome it or help them to get past it and learn how to control it by guiding them through it? So if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, go check out my other videos that I've done where I react to Bollywood sex scenes and see what you think of those.